The New Orleans Saints offense desperate for game changers as Spencer Rattler shines. All right, Ross Jackson is the backdrop. Okay, it's the day after the day before. All right, we are a day removed from the New Orleans Saints' performance against the New England Patriots, and we're going to talk about it.
New Orleans Saints are so clearly missing our biggest takeaway from Sunday's game, which is that the New Orleans Saints desperately need playmakers on the offensive side of the football. We got all that.
You know, I've kind of gone back and forth on this, and yeah, I mean, every team wants a playmaker, right? Like every team wants a generational or a standout or whatever at whatever position. But the Saints don't even really need that. Like the Saints don't need Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson. Yes, obviously having those players would be awesome, but they just need players to do anything. Like they just need players to step up. When I look at the game against the Patriots, and I think about the big difference-making plays, it was Kelvin Banks' holding, which negated a pass to Devon Vele that would have been on like the 2. It was Chris Olave dropping a touchdown pass that hit him in the hands. It was Chris Olave dropping another pass on whatever it was that would have moved the chains. It was Juwan Johnson fumbling on a first down in the middle of the field. Those are the plays where it's like, yeah, if we had any of those back, we'd be good. We'd be cool. Like if you have the Devon Vele pass or the holding back, all of a sudden you're on the 2-yard line. If you have the Chris Olave touchdown drop back, all of a sudden you score a touchdown. Right? If you've got the Juwan Johnson fumble back, you are in position to potentially take the lead in the game. We don't need the next coming of Randy Moss to do this. We don't need Hall of Fame generational left tackle or whatever. We just need these little simple things to not go against us, and preferably for 5 or 6 of these simple things to not go against us in one game, like what I just explained against the Patriots.
The New Orleans Saints desperately need playmakers on the offensive side of the football. We'll be honest, they need playmakers on the defensive side of the football as well, but I feel like there's more opportunity to be patient and see what happens on the defensive side because you have so many young players that are just now getting their first handful of starts and things like that. It's a different ball game over on the defensive side of the football, and I expect the defensive personnel to already undergo a lot of change this upcoming offseason.
Defensively, it's always been a thing with like Fangio defenses that it usually takes a little bit. It usually takes about half of a season or so for them to figure it out because it's kind of a complicated system. You add in young players all over the place, like Jonas Sanker, Quincy Riley, even Kool-Aid is a second-year player. These are young guys, right? So I can understand if systematically the defense is they're not there yet. I can understand that. I can understand if there's some miscommunication or some blown coverages or whatever. Because, okay, fine. Like, sure, it's new system, new all kind of stuff. Totally get that. What I don't get is the actual, like, in the play moment. Like, the actual coverage. Like, okay, it's one-on-one. You got a guy. It's third and 7. Why are we giving a 15-yard cushion? Like, why is whatever the DB is, whoever it is, why is he nowhere near the receiver at the point of the catch? Like, that's what I don't understand. Offensively, same thing. This is not like what we're talking about now is not there's some miscommunication. Well, they don't know their role. Well, they don't know what they're supposed to be doing. It's, hey, why are we dropping that pass? Hey, why are we why are we fumbling that ball? It's the stuff that they should be doing no matter what system, no matter what team, coach, situation, no matter what's going on. They should be executing these plays.
Anyway, so with all that out of the way, I think it's the offensive side of the football that I'm going to focus on here early on in the show. Could the Saints use a generational pass rusher? 100%. Could they use a shutdown number 1 corner? 100%. But even beyond all that, the Saints need a wide receiver that's going to make big-time catches in big-time moments and be that physical chain mover that's going to be able to be the constant and go-to in situations where the team needs to be able to move the ball through the air. They also need a tight end that's going to be able to be more consistent. The Saints lacking some consistency at that position. And oh, don't forget that eventually they're going to be taking a look at the future of their running back room as well. So the New Orleans Saints are desperately in need of playmakers. Now, there's two ways that they get these playmakers. They get them either by making sure that they're developing the players that are already in the building. And so perhaps somebody that's already on the roster ends up standing up. There's obvious examples and nominees for that, I guess you could say. But then also taking a look at what the crop might look like moving forward when it comes to next offseason. So the Saints have 11 games to kind of get this figured out. Can Chris Olave be a number one option in your passing game and go out there and make the plays that a number one wide receiver has got to be able to make?
This is another point of contention where, I hear about this all the time, where it's like, he's not a number one. Like I mentioned 30 seconds ago, I'm not really asking him to be a number one. I'm not really asking him to be Terrell Owens. I brought this up because it happened in the same day, but the Tez Johnson catch in the Buccaneers game. Tez Johnson is not a number one. He is not the Buccaneers number one. He would not be a number one on any team in the NFL, okay? No one would argue that he is a number one, right? But he is an NFL wide receiver. And at some point, if you are an NFL wide receiver, you have to make plays. Is Tez Johnson going to make that diving catch in the end zone all the time? No. But he's got to do it sometimes, right? Like, are our receivers, a little bit of a stutter there, are our receivers going to make every single catch? Are they never going to drop a pass? No. Of course there's going to be drops. But it can't be every game, and it can't be in big situational spots in every single game. I mean, I can think of right now, we've only had 6 games, 5 of which were competitive. The Seahawks game, whatever. But I can think of probably close to 10 or 12, almost a dozen situations where either Juwan Johnson or the running backs or someone on the offensive side of the ball either dropped a pass, fumbled the ball, did something like that literally cost us the game. And we're getting to the point now to where no plays are being made, but probably twice a game, we're having these just lapses where all of a sudden we have a back-breaking drop or a back-breaking fumble or a back-breaking penalty or whatever. And the scales are not balanced. The scales are not okay, well, they're making plays here and then they're not making plays here. Okay, it kind of washes out in the end. There is no plays being made. And, the conversation is, well, how come we only score when we're just running the ball in the red zone? How come we only score whenever, it's just run, run, run? Well, probably because you can't drop the pass. Probably because that's just the most simple, easiest thing you can do is just run forward. And that's kind of where it is. And I really think at this point, from what I've seen in 6 games, it's a talent/roster problem that the players are just not stepping up right now. They're just not playing the level they should be playing at and making the plays they should be borderline routine plays to help this team win.
And Juwan Johnson be a more consistent playmaker for you to the point where he is impacting the results in games the positive way, not
the Juwan Johnson thing is a great example. Can he be a playmaker impacting? I don't even care about that. Just go down. Can he just be a guy who goes down on the play? Just holds on to the ball. I don't need, it'd be cool if he was a dominant playmaking tight end, whatever. But at this point, I'd be perfectly happy with just him catching the ball and going to the ground. I'd be cool with that. It's crazy how in 6 weeks we've gone from, this is the worst team of all time, we're just happy to be in the games, to, hey guys, if y'all could just do the basics, we could probably win some of these games. Same with Blake Grupe. Now, he was amazing in the Patriots game, but I'm not asking him to be Brandon Aubrey and make 70-yard field goals. In the first couple of games, it was like, hey, brother, how about you just make this 37-yard field goal? Hey, man, how about you just not miss this 40-yarder in the dome? You don't got to make the 64, 65-yarders. that doesn't have to happen. But how about we just meet in the middle and you make some of these easy ones?
The negative way. We've seen drops. We've seen fumbles now from them, things like that in some of these key moments. And in this New England Patriots loss, 25-19, marching down the field, a real opportunity there for this New Orleans Saints team to potentially score a go-ahead touchdown. And instead, into the middle of the field, fumble, turnover, and then the Patriots keep the football. It was not the performance that the New Orleans Saints so desperately needed out of these particular players. Rashid Shaheed, deep ball guy, he's been able to do that, but also expand his role a little bit more. But for whatever reason, the Saints are only ever able to somehow get one of their wide receivers in a game, in any given game, as opposed to 2 wide receivers or 3 wide receivers making a lot of impact plays. We saw Brandon Cooks make a huge catch for this team late.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon Cooks, I said it when he made that catch. I said in the stands, I was like, at this point, I'm the most confident when the ball's going to Brandon Cooks. Because he's just a pro. He's just a professional wide receiver. Is Brandon Cooks going to go out there and light the game on fire and make all these one-handed catches or whatever? No. But I know if it's 3rd and 9 and he has a 10-yard pass that hits him in the hands, I know he's going to come down with it. Devon Bailey has kind of been like that, where it's like, if the ball is right here, he's going to come down with it. And that's what we're looking for now. That's where we're at. It's like, who's just going to make the catch? Who's just going to, if the ball hits their hands, who's going to come down with it?
In the game, but outside of that, not really seen. Devon Bailey seen early, but then had a play walked back and all these other things. This is a New Orleans Saints team right now that needs somebody that can break a game for you. They need somebody like, and I'm just going to use some examples, but a guy like a Michael Thomas that the Saints have had in the past, a Marcus Colston, a Lance Moore, who we see here on the show every post-game and Wednesday.
Y'all know I don't like this. Y'all know I don't like whenever it's just this constant, like, I heard this in the Patriots conversation after the game. But they talked about how, and this is a narrative that we've talked about here, so y'all will be familiar with this. But someone asked, I'm trying to remember where I even heard this conversation. But someone asked, how is this Patriots team so much different than last year? And the answer was that they've removed themselves from anything that's happened over the last 20 years. They removed themselves from anything Belichick, anything Brady, anything to do with that. And they're just a new team with a new culture and a new whatever. The Saints have to desperately do that. I cringe to death. I want to rip my skin off my face and just not even become a human being. Every time I hear, we got to have the next Marcus Colston. We got to find the next Pierre Thomas. We got to find the next Darren Sproles. The next, if the Patriots said, yeah, but who's going to be the next Ty Law? Who's going to be the next Rodney Harrison? Who's going to be the next Mike Vrabel, Teddy Bruschi, Tom Brady, Kevin Falk, Julian Edelman, Wes Welker? It's like, man, there's other players. The Saints got to get away from that. The Saints don't need a Michael Thomas. Yeah, having the Offensive Player of the Year, setting a single season receptions record, yeah, that'd be cool. But at this point, they just need Cooper Kupp. They just need a guy who can make a catch. They need Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. That's it. They're cool with that. I'm cool with if they just had, JSN. All right. Yeah, Michael Thomas would be cool. But there's other players out there, other stuff we can do.
Wednesday night, you look at guys from other teams. You need that Jamar Chase. You need that Justin Jefferson. You need that A.J. Brown. Heck, that Nico Collins.
Again, I don't think so. Every team would love to have Justin Jefferson, not splitting the atom. You got to have a player who can just be a professional football player week in and week out. That's it. You got to have somebody who the ball hits them in the hands, they're coming down with it. 3rd and 7, boom, go to the ground, make the play. That's it. And there's a lot of receivers in the NFL that'll do that aren't quote-unquote number ones.
From the Houston Texans. Not anybody that's going out there necessarily making these big, huge 70-yard plays, but somebody that your quarterback can consistently lean on to be a playmaker when there is a play to be made. You need a 3rd and 7 picked up so you can keep a drive alive, so that you can take a lead or put yourself in position to take a lead. Who is that player that you go to? You need a 5-yard slant on 3rd and 4 to keep a drive alive to protect a lead. Which receiver or pass catcher are you going to on this New Orleans Saints team right now?
Adam Thielen is not a 1, but Adam Thielen would be great for this team because Adam Thielen would just make the catch. That's it. He would just make the catch, keep it moving, be good to go. That's where we're at. We have now somehow walked it back to just begging for people to do the basics.
You see what I'm saying? Like, it's that kind of player that it feels like the Saints don't necessarily have. You get a wheel route to Chris Olave into the end zone, front corner of the end zone, just barely misses it, falls right through his hands. You have another one on a crosser on a 2nd down as you're trying to drive and keep the drive alive, goes up a little high, sure, got both hands on it, and instead of coming down with it, effectively spikes it into the ground, goes incomplete, another drop. Spencer Rattler threw 6 incomplete passes in this game. He was 20 of 26, completed over 76% of his passes, had a stellar day, over 220 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but a stellar day nonetheless. And of those 6 incompletions, 4 of them went his number 1 wide receiver's way in Chris Olave. Now, none of this is to say that it's all said and done, that Chris Olave can never be the number 1 guy, that Juwan Johnson can't become more consistent, that
yeah, and this is a good point too. I'm not saying these guys can't do it. I'm not saying these guys don't have the ability to do it. What I'm saying is they aren't doing it right now. That's what I'm saying. Do I think Juwan Johnson can catch? Yes. Do I think he can be a good tight end or whatever? Sure. But right now, he's not. Do I think Chris Olave is one of the slickest route runners in the NFL? Yes, absolutely. Do I think he's a good wide receiver? Yes. Do I think he's undervalued? Yeah, he has been. But right now, he ain't. Right now, he's not doing it. Right now, he's not helping himself. And these players have got to step up. I don't know what's going on. I mean, like I said, it's been 6 games. I can think of other games where drives stalled out because either who was it? Was it the 49ers game where the first drive no one saw the balls? Like no one saw where the ball was. Like Chris Olave, it was like 3rd down and he was in the middle of the field and Rattler threw it and Olave never saw it. Hit him in the arm. He was just kind of like standing there, hit him in the arm, went down. We had to kick a field goal. Like that kind of stuff. Or I think it was Seattle where Juwan Johnson dropped like the first 3 passes. Now, granted, that one, it didn't matter, but I can sit here and think about like, okay, well, that happened in this game as well. Oh, that happened in this game as well. Oh, that also happened in this game. Like the Alvin Kamara fumble. Like when Alvin had the catch, and you could argue like, okay, well, it was a bad throw, whatever. Alvin had it pinned up against his head, but that was a back-breaking fumble on like the 25-yard line. It's only been 6 games. It's only been 6 games, and we've got like 3 or 4 games that we can point to where a fumble, a drop pass, a penalty, a missed field goal completely flips the game. I'm not just talking about this game. I'm not just sitting here saying like, well, this one drop in this one game, because one drop in one game is going to happen. But when you're 6 games in, and basically in 5 of the 6 games, or 4 of the 6 games, because the Giants game we won, but in the Seahawks game, 4 of the 6 games, you can point to a handful of basic plays, basically, where a drop, a missed field goal, a penalty, or a fumble completely cost you the game.
Shaheed and Chris Olave will never be able to both have impact games. None of that is true. At least none of that is set in stone. There's still the opportunity for those players to step up into those roles. And here's the thing, you have 11 games now to get this figured out. And to maybe not necessarily win a bunch of games. We know that we don't expect that from this New Orleans Saints team. But players being put in position to make plays in big moments, 11 games of opportunities for them to make those plays in those big moments, to make good on those opportunities. If they don't do that, the New Orleans Saints are going to have a few help wanted signs up at a couple different positions across the offense. And I think that would be completely sensible for this.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, yes, like every player on this team is auditioning because it is a rebuild. So every player is auditioning for contracts. They are trying to make the coaches say, all right, whoever is part of the future of this team. That is every single player. Every single one. Where they're looking at him like Chris Olave. They got to figure out, is he going to have a deal, or are they going to move off of him? How's it going to go? All right. The backfield. Alvin Kamara's towards the end of his career or whatever. He's already said he wants to be a Saint. But Kendra Miller, he is auditioning of like, hey man, are you going to be the next starting running back? Juwan Johnson, are you going to be the tight end moving forward? Or are we going to have to get out of this contract? All the offensive linemen. Trevor Penning. Hey, Trevor, like, are we going to pick this contract up or not? Everyone's auditioning. So, and right now, I ain't looking good.
New Orleans Saints team. Doesn't mean that you got to trade anybody away. Doesn't mean that you got to ship anybody off. But it certainly means that you've got to add talent and be willing to replace talent in order to make sure that you're putting the best product and the best possible weapons around a young quarterback that right now, I don't see how you move on from or move away from at this time. Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, I mean, Rattler's been the best player on the offense. He's the most consistent best player on the offense, and it hadn't even really been close. But, yeah, I mean, you don't – and that's part of it, too, where you hear – I mean, I've heard it all since the game ended, but it is not as easy as trade Chris Olave or trade Juwan Johnson or bench them and play whoever, Mason Tipton and whoever else. Like, you're not going to do that. You're not going to bench Chris Olave. You're not going to bench Juwan Johnson. That's not the answer. The answer is for them to step up and be the players that they're supposed to be. The answer isn't, well, just bench them, trade them, cut them, release them, whatever. You got to put the onus on these players. They have to step up. Again, this is basic level stuff. Basic level. Catch the ball. Don't fumble. That's it. This is not a bench them. Yeah, nah. Play whoever else. Play Stone Cold Kevin Austin. You're not going to do that. You're not going to bench your first round pick on a rookie deal. You're not going to waste that time. Like, that is a non-starter. That is not an option. The only option, they got to be better.
Has been playing very well. Very, very well. And this New England Patriots game was another example of it. His ability to move within the pocket, to still get the ball out, to keep his eyes up, but also to be able to utilize his legs to go and pick up yardage. Had a great first down run, for instance, at one point. He's doing everything that he needs to do. Now, the next thing is, can you get him the talent that he can elevate, and can you put talent around him that elevates him? And if the New Orleans Saints can't find that they have that in the building right now, they're absolutely going to have to go shopping this offseason in order to find those pieces. So 11 games for those pieces to surface from the current grouping of what the New Orleans Saints have to offer. But after that, the Saints might find themselves looking to wheel and deal on a market, whether that's through the draft or through free agency. Coming up next.
Yeah. I mean, right now, absolutely. Like, right now, it's pretty clear what this team needs. Very clear. And yeah, if the draft was tomorrow, you're either taking wide receivers, you're taking edge guys, you're taking cornerbacks and secondary help. Pretty obvious what needs to happen. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.